Bring in William Lawrence, a professor of political science and international affairs at American University and a former U.S. diplomat. He joins us now from Washington, D.C. Professor, as always, thank you for your time. So when we look at those comments that Trump is making, is he doing this to somehow pressure Putin? What's the thinking behind using such inflammatory language, like calling a president absolutely crazy, only then to get a response from a former president, Dmitry Medvedev, about World War III?
Well, first, let's say, yes, absolutely. Trump is throwing invective and criticism and the emotional language everyone's referring to at Putin to try to pressure him. And that's because Trump has had a series of conversations, including an hour-long conversation very recently with Putin, in which Putin told Trump things and Trump told Putin things to lead Trump to believe that a negotiation was possible. And the launching of 1,300 drones and missiles on Kyiv and other cities, responded to, as you said, by 100 from Ukraine, was against the spirit and content of those communications. And so Putin is doing the opposite of what he told Trump he would do. In terms of what Lavrov said about the country's raid in support of Ukraine, that's been the U.S., along with Poland, Germany, France, and the U.K., and 81 senators out of 100 who are opposed to slap major sanctions on Russia if these talks fall apart. Now, when Trump refers to terrible things, he's not talking about World War III, nor would he tell Medvedev or would Medvedev know what Trump has in his arsenal. What he's talking about is all the contingency plans the U.S. is always planning for any war, to take out the leadership of a country, to take out the economy of a country, to take out the military infrastructure of a country, if need be, in the case of extreme warfare. So I'm sure Trump reviewed those plans after becoming president for the second time and said, well, these are things maybe I would do later if I needed to, but we're not going to pursue that now. I think I can get a negotiated deal. So Trump is ramping up the rhetoric, and of course Medvedev is going back to that scare. But if that was still scaring Europe the way Medvedev thought, then Germany wouldn't have just removed the restrictions on the use of its weapons inside Russian territory the way France, UK, and the US already have, which means now Ukraine can wage all-out warfare against Russia's military infrastructure rather than being hamstrung to defend their country only within their own borders.
Prof, it was just 2 weeks ago that there was a possibility that peace talks and could actually take place and more peace talks could bring about a final ceasefire year. And of course, since then, we've seen these massive attacks from Russia. And now, just a few hours ago, we're hearing from the Russians saying that they've shot down drones headed towards Moscow. So with all this diplomacy happening, why does the fighting and the war seem to be getting worse?
There are many reasons, but one is Trump never took seriously nor fully understood what Putin's trying to accomplish, which is to either completely defeat Ukraine in a long war, which is what he's pursuing right now, or to gain in this round of fighting as much as he can, on the battlefield and through negotiations, and live to fight another day while he rearms. The other side, the Europeans, the Ukrainians, and when the U.S. is defending Ukraine, that's their position as well, is saying, no, the Ukrainians don't have to give up additional territory. They don't have to swear off relations with the EU or in the future NATO. And they certainly don't have to capitulate to the Russians and not continue to build up their armed forces to defend themselves if Russia is building up its own forces. And it seems that Trump is only slowly figuring out what Putin has always been up to. That's why Macron said, and other European leaders have said, it seems that in his latest communications, Trump is finally understanding what Putin is all about. So even though Lavrov is trying to play a divide and conquer game with the Western powers, Trump is being pushed by Putin into more solidarity with the European powers. What Trump wants, he wants a quick, easy deal, and he wants it on his own terms, and he wants to force the two sides into it. And he showed early on he's willing to push Ukraine very hard to get that deal. But now he's not getting cooperation from Putin, and he's trying to figure out how hard he has to push Putin to get a deal.
It will certainly be interesting to see what the response will be, if any, from Vladimir Putin. Professor Lawrence, thank you so much for speaking to us. Appreciate your time.